you're Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. Clap for Spider-Man. That's a hero right there. Love you, Spider-Man. Matter of fact, I wish I could be Spider-Man.
So excited and honored to be able to introduce Reggie to you because I was at a camp just like you guys when I was 12 years old, Lake Geneva Bible Camp in Minnesota, and Reggie was our camp speaker. And I had an incredible encounter with Reggie through his obedience to the Lord and what he spoke into my life that night. And so I wanted to share that with you. So I want to know, is there any pastors' kids, PKs in the room tonight? Just kind of holler, woohoo. Yeah. Okay, so I'm a pastor's kid too. But back then, it was really cool to be really rebellious as a PK. We were known for being terrible kids. And I was really rebellious at the age of 12. I was really rebellious. And people at the camp, they knew me. They knew that I just had a bad attitude. You know, someone said, you know, you say yes, and I'd say no. You say no, and I'd say yes. I just was really rebellious. And I would pull pranks at camp and everything like that. We had a lake, and we had canoes, and in the middle of the night, me and my friends, we let all the canoes out in the middle of the lake, so they had to go rescue them. We did all kinds of crazy stuff. But Reggie was our speaker, and the evening came to camp just like this, and we were coming in the sanctuary, and I started really goofing off with my friends. And we were really drawing attention to ourselves. And it was time for him to come up and speak. And it was obvious that we were being very distracting. And Reggie started his message, and he's hilarious. He's awesome. He's tried to start to preach. And he knew that I was being distracting. And he even knew me back then. He knew my father, who was a pastor. And in front of all the camp, he called me out. He stopped preaching, and he said, let's go outside and have a talk. And so just like the principal's office, everybody was like, ooh. And I had to take this long, lonely walk outside. And outside we had this huge tree that everybody would carve in, you know, and we'd all meet around the flagpole in the morning for mail call and all this old-fashioned camp stuff that we used to do. And so I went out where this tree was, this big old tree. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm like repenting. I'm like, they're gonna call my dad. I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble. He just stopped preaching and called me out. And my heart starts racing. And all of a sudden I notice the tree disappeared and Reggie's in front of me. And I'm like, oh no, here it comes. And I'm bracing myself. And I'm this 12-year-old little girl. And I look at this big guy and I'm bracing myself for him just to tell me off and to tell me, how dare you interrupt my message? You know, I'm waiting for it. But when I looked up, this man had tears in his eyes. And this is all he said to me. He said that you are running from God, and he has a call on your life, and he's chasing after you, and he just wants you to come, and he wants to tell you about his plan. And he turned around, and he went back inside, and I'm left there going, what just happened? What? And the Lord just started to speak to me instantly and reminded me that I do have a call. And he softened my heart from being rebellious. And I walk in, and Reggie comes up to the stage, and he says, I know I'm not supposed to preach the message tonight. And this is all he does. He says, God wants to do something different. And he says, if you are called to the ministry and you know it, I want you over here. If you don't know where you're supposed to be in the ministry, but you know that you're called, I want you right here. And if you haven't accepted the Lord in your life, I want you over here. Move. And all of us got up. No music playing, no sermon, no nothing. I mean, we just all ran to the altar. And that night, I spent crying booger bubbles. And he came and prayed over me and cried with me. And the Lord spoke to me about his purpose and his plan for my life that night. And I stayed in that altar till 2 in the morning. And I never forgot that. And because of his obedience to the Lord, not to condemn me, not to put me down, but to speak life into me and say, God has a plan for you. Don't run from it. Run to him. Run to that plan. That's why I get to do this, because he was obedient. And so I'm so excited to introduce Reggie. You're going to love him tonight. Come on, give it up for Reggie Dabbs.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Dang, y'all half sleep. Especially that girl right there, my Lord. She has drool coming down.